Okay, I don't know if anybody is interested, but I wanted to go through my thought process. I'm trying to design a logo and some branding for a band called Bygones. And the vibe of the music and the vibe of the band and the message is basically, let bygones be bygones. The past is the past. That's the type of band. We're taking advantage of the now, and not worrying too much about the past. And so I was thinking, how can I create a brand identity? The band already had their first logo was all capital letters in a sans serif font, which happened to be the same font whatever Instagram uses. That was the font that they had used directly from Instagram. So when I got to thinking about fonts, not wanting to use, an Instagram official font and not being able to have access to it without purchasing a license, I began to think about what bygones meant. Let bygones be bygones. Bygones are in the past, and that's a very simple concept. So I decided to experiment with simple fonts that looked cool. But then when I really stopped to think about it, if we're truly about letting bygones be bygones and making things easy and moving forward, and just things being good and forward looking, then I thought, well, what if Bygones wants to print some t-shirts or some hats or some stickers, and they need to get the files to the printers, right? We can go with all these cool looking fonts, but then it requires, it's not the simplest thing. You got to make sure, is it compatible, is it not? So what I ended up on for the font for the logo is nothing more than Arial Black. Let me highlight on it. Right, it's Arial Black. It's the simplest font. It's the font that literally everybody has. So again, right, it applies to literally everyone in my mind. The mindset belongs to everyone, and the font belongs to everyone. And then I got to thinking about branding. How do we, the band originally spelled it without the E too, so it was B-Y, but there already was a different Bygone, so hence now it's a chance to revisit the logo. I probably should have said that earlier. And then I was thinking, well, a band is going to have posters, a band is going to release CDs, a band's vinyl records, bumper stickers. So what is the simplest way that we can ensure that our branding is consistent without making things difficult for anybody in the process, right? So I came up with the concept of this happens to be 240 pixels by 1200 pixels, but a 1:5 relationship. So whatever this height is, doesn't matter how high, we just call it 1. This is 5 times as wide. And what that gives us is the ability to, no matter the size of the thing that you're trying to, print, a poster or an album cover or a bumper sticker, if this proportion of your logo, this white part, is part of the logo, so it's the letters on top of the white logo, that is the official logo. It's in a 1:5 ratio, so that even if it were to get on a square, then you can see that it retains its prominence. If it were a bumper sticker, right, then all you would see would be the white part on the bumper sticker, and it would be slightly to the left. Again, slightly in the past, right? The whatever the height is, and in this case is 240 pixels. What I've decided to do is to make things simple, is the font, whatever this Arial is, whatever the size of this is, the font is half of that size. So you can see that in our space that is 240 pixels tall, the font itself takes up 120 pixels. And that is placed exactly in the center point, right? Or again, what you could do is you could take, take this, cut it in half, and that's where anyway, the text of the letter starts where this makes a square. So it's whatever this half is, whatever this ratio is, this 50%, and then the others divided, whatever that is. Again, so the ratio stays the same, right? And if it were even on a very tall poster, it would still retain its own prominence. So I wanted to make sure that the logo never got unreadable or too small. Now, when looking at colors for the Bygones, I did several variations on the logo. The first is when when you say goodbye to somebody, they're gone, right? Let bygones by. So I started playing with that idea and thinking again in keeping things simple, in keeping things in proportions, and keeping things that apply to everybody and everything, right? It would be absolute black, absolute white, and 50% black and 50% white. So again, makes it super easy. It can be printed on anything, anywhere, in any format. It's easily understood. It accounts for whether you're looking at it on a phone or whatever. I mean, it absolutely mathematically maintains your brand identity in the ratio of the colors. Every letter in the logo has a white stroke on it, a single pixel white stroke around even the black ones and the white ones, to ensure that it has enough contrast at smaller sizes, where if you didn't have that stroke, maybe that gray at a further distance would be harder to read, but this makes it easier to read even at smaller sizes. So I'm going to show you some variations on the logo itself. This is the first one, right? By, and the dark inferring that there was a hole, right? But then I decided to reverse it because the gone part is kind of faded in the past. So we have the gone has a lot of prominence as well. So I'll tell you how I feel about them when I show them all to you, right? And then we have bygones reversed. And then we have each of the letters being slightly more white from black to white as the bygones are fading. And then the one that I personally like the best is, this is in the past where we want to keep it bright, and here's where we are now. Oh no, actually no, I lied. I think I like this better. Right? Yeah, I think I like this one because it starts out strong and then it fades as the bygones fade. That's why I decided on this one. So that's the one I like the best. The second one I like the best is this one because this stronger, darker letter grabs your attention, right? So you want to read the whole band name, Bygones, versus if we reverse it, the first thing your eye is drawn to is the word gone, which then you have to stop, visually go, oh yeah, let me read the rest of the band name. So I feel that it's either this one or the one that I like, again, because we're giving, this is, we've simply divided 1, 2, 3, I think there's 8 letters, right? So each of these is an 8th step down from full black to dark gray. Again, they're taking an 8th, whatever that is, however you're printing, and until you get down here, this is what 50-50 would be would be like the middle letter, and then this would be white. Again, everything is stroked and that keeps it all aligned. Now, what I've done on the bottom for any album cover art, right? It would be the same thing. The simplest font is Arial itself. Again, the universal font. The other one is Arial Black, which is a bold version of the same font. If they have Arial, they've got Arial Black, and vice versa. So what I've done here is I've taken that on an album cover, right, which is what a musician is they're creating music for albums, right? What we do is we would want to make sure that keeping our proportional ratio, making things easy, right? This is always pure white, and then this is always pure white. And instead of being 1/5, this is 1/10. It's half as tall as this, right? So that means this is, in this case, 120 pixels tall by the same 1200 pixels wide, which makes 120 divided by 2 means the Arial font itself is 60 pixels. And again, that's placed right in the center, right? So you've got 30 pixels on the top and 30 pixels on the bottom, and then a 60 pixel font, right? And the title is always centered, so we don't have to worry about trying to line it up with the logo, and it visually separates which is the band name and which is the actual title, which I always want to make sure that we can easily distinguish, that we don't want to confuse we don't want to confuse anybody who might be looking at the album cover who might not otherwise know the band. So then finally, that means that in this area here, I would imagine that the artwork for every release would be in that remaining 1/5 and 1/10 is 15/10, however many. Anyway, however it works. And then to go back through, just kind of taking a look at how each of those logos would look. Right. This first one, we are fading into the past. I like this one. I don't less than I like this one, because again, the word by, the darkest letter is B, catches your attention. Bygones. Then option 3 is the other one that I like the best. Going back and forth again, is the darkest word is part of it is by, to draw your eye, and then gone's you're fading 50%, right? It's not all the way gone, and this is just the reverse. The more I look at this one, the less I like it. So anyway, that is my thoughts for do I like it this way? I'm gonna make a final decision here. Do I like it this way? Right, and so that's super cool. I like the story of it fading, the visual story of it fading. But I think if I were trying to rely on a bumper sticker to get someone's attention, or a t-shirt, I think this is easier to read and still, so I think this would be my first choice, and a very close, just for the visual storytelling of the bygones fading. I don't know, now I like this one more. I don't know, what do you think? I can't decide. This would be A, bygones fading from dark to light as the bygones fade, or bygones where gone is kind of the subtext within the band name, right? You have the bygone, and the thing that's in the past is gone. So, all right, I think I've talked long enough. I hope somebody found that interesting, and have a great night.